Good morning. How are you doing? Hope you're doing all right. Let's connect. The Facebook massive. There we go. This should be the Facebook people coming in right now. It's good to see you. Well, I can't see you, I suppose, would be the irony of that statement. But it's good to be with you. I didn't do anything last week. Well, no, that's not true. I didn't do this last week. It was a funny week. Well, the reason I didn't do this last week is I did loads last week. That would be the point. Wednesday and Friday, I think it was. Can't remember what happened Monday. I had to be up and out fairly early. So I didn't get to talk to you. But there you go. Hope you're all right. And the week, well, the last few weeks, really, if I'm being completely honest, has seen me becoming more immersed in thinking about the distracted world that we live in, and particularly the current gripe, smartphone. I'm going to say addiction, smartphone addiction. And the reason that I think it's an addiction is because I don't think many people, myself included, and the irony of the fact that I'm doing this through social media on the internet isn't lost on me. I don't think we quite realize the stunning regularity with which we pick our mobile phones up. And over the last, I was going to say a couple of weeks, but it's probably a bit longer than that. I did start back end of last year trying to just have my mobile phone less accessible. It's here right now because I haven't started my kind of work day yet. But now I put it at least behind me so I can't see it, or in another room often. And I make a conscious effort now on an evening not to have it by me. It doesn't work all the time. And I also have it go into focus mode because I've got an iPhone. I have it go into focus mode during the day so I don't get any alerts. Or you can filter, so I only get alerts from some people, family and stuff. And it got me thinking, and there have been a number of occurrences, particularly in my lecturing and my lecturing role, where the distraction caused by mobile phones has been front and center in the use of mobile phones by students. I made no apology for saying that because this is what's brought it into sharp focus. And so obviously that got me reading, and like you do, and thinking about this, because I know my colleagues at work, some of them think the mobile phone is a useful aid in the classroom. I get that, it can be. But equally, it's very distracting. So I started reading some stuff, and I'm reading in this book at the minute, Tiger Roholt, Distracted from Meaning, a Philosophy of Smartphones. And I'm gonna have a look at a little bit of that. But he says research shows, and this is really interesting, that this kind of shifted the emphasis for me. The important social aspect of smartphone distraction that emerges from some studies is that respondents report being distracted by the smartphone use of nearby others. So here's the deal. Not only are you distracting yourself, but I'd argue, inappropriate use of mobile phones in certain settings. And those in certain settings, I'd argue, are in professional settings, education settings, and when you're with your family, I would argue. It's not just distracting you. Hey, you do what you want with your life and your world. Distract yourself to your heart's content. But actually, the research is saying that it distracts everybody else as well. And what's interesting as you get into the book is what he ends up saying is actually, it's not that it distracts other people more, it distracts you just as much, but you don't bloom and see it. You don't see that it's distracting you because it's become such an extension. And he talks about the fact that laptops are different because they serve a different purpose. And he refers to the smartphone as an intimate piece of equipment that we use. And I think that, don't you, by how you feel when your smartphone is out of reach, or how you feel if somebody takes it off you. Do you know what I mean? You've got nothing to hide. You know what I mean? Really? You know what I mean? Oh, well, you might have, but you've got nothing to hide. But someone takes your smartphone off you and you're anxious. If you can't find it, you become anxious. So, it's almost, I would suggest, an extension of who we are. So it is distracting us, and we are distracting other people in terms of our use. And one of the things Maggie Jackson says is people who focus well, so this is kind of the flip side of this, people who focus well report feeling less fear, frustration, and sadness day to day, partly because they can literally deploy their attention away from negatives in life. So if we're constantly distracted rather than focused, our life actually isn't as good as it could have been. Jacqueline Winspear, novelist. If we wish to be dominant in the face of distraction, then we must be mindful of its power. So if not being distracted has the power to help us draw our attention away from the negatives in life and employ ourselves to positives, then what she's suggesting is that when we are distracted, we are more fearful, more frustrated, and sadder. So yes, we must understand its power. And James Lang, author of Distracted, Why Students Can't Focus and What We Can Do About It, says the more time I spend in the company of my distractions, the more I become a distractible person. Well, I'm going to go to meditation and mindfulness here. I'm going to go to deep work tunnel, so I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to mention it. And you can go and find some of my other videos. If this is your first one, then I might talk about it later in the week, but it's obvious, really. It's obvious, really, that if you are constantly distracted, you will constantly be distracted. You will become more distractible. It's interesting. What's really interesting, and this is the way that social media works. And I'm not negative about it. I'm not anti-social media, but this is the way social media works. We get a dopamine spike in our brains, and we like dopamine spikes. They make us feel good. We get a dopamine spike in our brain before the event takes place, before you check the Facebook message or the WhatsApp message or whatever, before you get the dopamine spike before it happens. So actually what it is doesn't matter too much. If it's a huge letdown, it doesn't matter too much, because the dopamine spike is anticipatory. You are anticipating something. Dopamine spike. Helpful, I suppose, because it makes you go and look at the thing. If it's a helpful thing to go and look at, or it's appropriate to go and look at it. But you get the dopamine spike before the thing, before the event, before the whatever the distracting thing is, or the outcome of the event. You get the dopamine spike beforehand. So we become addicted to dopamine because the outcome doesn't matter. We can feel the outcome is pathetic, worthless, but we've had the dopamine spike, so we are happy to be distracted by that. And in fact, one journalist, Clarissa Sebag Montefiore, I hope I pronounced that right, talks about a Microsoft report. And a Microsoft report found attention spans have dropped from 12 seconds, that's problematic already, in the year 2000 to 8 seconds today. That's written in 2023. And an 8-second attention span is less than that of a goldfish. Just let that sink in. Our attention span now, researched, is less than that of a goldfish. Attention makes the genius. All learning, fancy, and science depend upon it. Robert Harris Wilmot, an author, 1809, 1863. Heavy stuff, isn't it? Again, this is from Distracted from Meaning, a Philosophy of Smart Bones by Tiger Roholt. And I just like this bit, I suppose. I really just like this bit. Let me read this bit. Zeal for doing, lust for action leaves many a person, especially in this hurried and impatient human environment in which we live. We experience Try that again. From the top. Zeal for doing, lust for action leaves many a person, especially in this hurried and impatient human environment which we live, with experience of an almost incredible paucity, all on the surface. Our experience is all on the surface and not deep. No one experience has a chance to complete itself because something else is entered upon so speedily. We move from experience to experience. Everything has to be a flipping experience these days. Do you know what I mean? It can't just be something of peace and tranquility. It's got to be even that has to be for many people. We can't just accept the transition between things. We have to immediately finish one thing and move on to the next. What is called experience becomes so dispersed and miscellaneous as hardly to deserve the name. And I've written in my little notes here, we move from experience to experience without absorbing it post-experience. This is why reflection is absolutely key. Not in that professional sense, but just in life. To have an experience and then absorb it. And I must admit, here's something that's just popped into my head. When me and Christine used to go to the theatre or go to a gig or whatever, on the way out, we'd talk about it. Did you like that bit? Did you like the other bit? What did you think of the scenery change there? What did you think of that song? What did you think of whatever? And now we don't. That's just dawned on me. We don't. We go, all right, that was all right. We move on. Guilty as charged, Your Honour. So I've written in my notes there, we have become experience collectors. That's what social media is, isn't it? We're experience collectors. We can look back on all of our experiences and just tick them off. Maybe this is a bucket list phenomenon. I don't know, I've just thought of that. We tick off the experiences. We don't become immersed. One of the favourite things I do, and I do it with a number of people, is I immerse myself in something with them and just them. Go out with Tony, go out with Phil, immerse myself in music with Carl. And those are probably the best experiences that I have, because there's no urgency to get on to the next experience. I'm immersed in it for a period of time, and I think that's really, really important. So yes, I think we've become collectors of experiences, and social media wants us to collect our experiences, because then other people view our experiences, and our experiences go into the algorithm, and then the algorithm feeds us it back and feeds it back to other people. There's a famous phrase, I've tried to find out where it comes from, and I can't, but it's, if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. If you are not paying for the product, you are the product. So if you're online and you're not paying for something, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, then you're the product. They want you, they want your information. They want to find ways to bring you back to that platform repeatedly over and over again. So we have to be very, very careful. I think these things are, they're great. I'm pretty much not, I'm not on Facebook on a personal level now, on Facebook or Twitter very much. Do like Instagram. I'm a very visual person, so I do like Instagram. And what I like about Instagram is I've been drawn to Instagram because I do like I say, I'm visual. I do like pictures and stuff. And nobody seems to want to fight with each other on Instagram. People just share their pictures and go, oh, that's a lovely picture. Oh, well done. It seems, I mean, maybe people do fight on Instagram. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. But whereas on Twitter, do you know what? Sometimes I have once over the weekend, I had a quick flick through Twitter and somebody says something completely innocuous or just makes an interesting point, and all of a sudden everybody piles on, don't they? It's just ridiculous. Nonsense. Anyway, we're living in a distracted world. And I think the distractions are the most prevalent in the way we use our personal devices, mobile phones largely, and too much to go into now, but Tiger Roholt goes into it in his book. Mobile phones are different to laptops and computers, for example, because they're so portable and so readily available, is kind of one of the points that he makes. It's with us everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's in our pocket. We take it everywhere. We remain attached to it. It's in our hand. So I think we need to think about that. I think we need to think about that. Because if we are constantly distracted, then when are we doing anything? Or how disrupted are we getting? And is that why it seems to take us longer to do things? I don't know. conversation starter. Maybe comment, disagree with me, but be nice about it. I started another blog. There's only 2 entries on there. It's called Opinion Piece, and it's on Substack. And Peace is spelled P-E-A-C-E. See what I did there? Clever. Because it's like we should be able to express our opinions and have them responded to from a position of peace, from a position of, I see you, I see what you're saying, here's what I think, without it getting out of hand and all shouty and that. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, there you go. We should, and it is part of the place we've moved to, soundbite era of shouting at each other with little sound bites instead of depth of conversation. There you go. Anyway, there you are. That's Monday. That's Monday. I hope that's helpful. It's me just thinking out loud. So it's good stuff. So and the week is upon us and is exciting. So let's see what we do with the week, and hopefully I'll check in with you on Wednesday. Wednesday looks like a good check-in day right now. Take care. See you soon.